Well, good morning, guys. Hey, I just am so glad that you're joining me this morning. I want to talk to you a little bit about timing. And I entitled this, I guess you would say, God Has a Plan. Right now, we are in what we have all heard, an unprecedented time. We've heard it over and over again. This is an unprecedented time. In this pandemic, we've been in our homes, we've been locked down, we've been social distancing. All of this stuff is taking place, and believing that surely we must be getting close to the end of this thing. I think I'm getting lots of comments, hearing from a lot. I'm done with this. Let's just move on, but we're looking for it, or we're looking for this thing that's going to get us over the hump to move past this time. We want to find what is it that's going to make the difference. Honestly, I don't know, and I don't think anybody does. The government is trying to decide what is special about all of these businesses that need to stay in place. I think it's just going to ultimately boil down to the individuals, that are we going to do whatever it's going to take. But we're all looking for this thing, and we're all looking for what it is that's going to get us through or past this. But in reference to timing and God's plan, I want to take you through a little story this morning in John chapter 11. And it was a time when Jesus had this thing that he was going through. Well, really, it was his friends had this thing that they were going through. And so they called Jesus into this, and they were expecting Jesus to do something about it. And so let's read it in John chapter 11. It's when Jesus' friend Lazarus was dying, and he's on his deathbed, and his friends and his family, they call to Jesus. They say, hey, Lazarus is really sick. Hurry, come quickly. And so they send Jesus the message and the warning that he's about to die. Remember now, these are people that have seen Jesus do miracles. They've seen the wonders that he has performed. And so they send this urgent message to Jesus. But when Jesus is told about Lazarus, listen to how he responds in John chapter 11, verse 4. And we read, but when Jesus heard about it, he said, Lazarus' sickness will not end in death. No, it happened for the glory of God, so that the Son of God will receive glory from this. So what we see here, Jesus is actually sharing a new concept or approach that how he's going to deal with this situation. Now, they didn't understand, they didn't know what was happening, but he's telling them at this point that this part, that God has a plan in this. And in this timing, and it's God's timing, it's God's plan. Of course, they don't understand, we need to hurry, and Jesus is planning on using this sickness and death to demonstrate the glory of God. And so nobody around him understands what's going on here. Nobody understands what he's doing. That they were on a mission to get God to do something. Have you ever been on a mission to get God to do something in your life? Where you just know, God, you need to do something in this, and you're praying, and it just seems like God's taking his time, maybe not even answering. The first point that I want to make this morning is this: we got to understand that God's mission always trumps our mission. That God's mission always supersedes our mission or our will. He wants us to, what he wants to accomplish supersedes what we want him to accomplish in our lives. So right after Jesus gets this word about Lazarus, right after he's told that he really needs to hurry up and get there, Jesus makes the decision to stay another 2 days where he's at. Now, this just confounds the disciples and everybody. They got no clue what's going on. So by the time that Jesus actually gets to Lazarus, he's already been dead for 4 days. And Lazarus' friends and family and those who are close to him, they are upset with Jesus. They know, like, Jesus, if you would have been here, you could have done something about this. And so they feel like he could have stopped it, but he didn't do anything. And to them, Jesus' delay, it was actually offensive to them that he would delay and do something like this. So now Jesus, he finally shows up, and the Bible tells us in John chapter 11, verses 14 and 15, and it says, "So he told them plainly, Lazarus is dead, and for your sakes, I'm glad I wasn't there." Now imagine that, being a close friend or family of Lazarus, and Jesus saying, "Yep, he's dead, and for your sake, I'm glad I wasn't there." How offensive that would come across. But Jesus goes on and says, "For now you will really believe. Come, let's go and see him." Now, it sounded super insensitive. But Jesus is telling them, yes, I know Lazarus is dead. Yes, I know how things appear. But for your sake, you will be able to believe beyond even what you understood. Because what he was saying here is, I have a plan. Did it line up with your timing? No. Is it what you thought or how you thought I was going to answer? No. But I have a plan. And his plan was to demonstrate, to speak with authority to the dead. See, he had a resurrection miracle in mind, not just a healing miracle. He wanted to perform something that they had not seen yet, raise the dead. After 4 days already being in the tomb, he wanted to speak and raise the dead. Okay? You see, Jesus, he was about to reveal another new concept to his disciples in his ministry. Jesus often answers some prayers late on purpose. That's something that us today, we really need to keep in mind. Jesus often answers some prayers late, or what we believe as late, but it's not. He does it on purpose. Why? Because God has a plan. Amen? So too often we try to put God on a timeline. Too often we say, God, I need you to answer this prayer and I need it by now. You know, God, I'm approaching 30 and I don't have a husband yet. You need to get me a husband, you know, whatever. But God has a plan. So when we're praying for something and we start to think that God is late, understand that he's there going, yep, it's by design. I didn't answer yet because I'm doing something in you. I'm doing something through you. I want you to understand, trust in me, I have a plan for all of this. It's not too late, it's by design. God has a plan. Now, if we skip on down to the next part of the story, in John chapter 11, verses 39 and 40, Jesus shows up to the graveside with the family and friends, and he tells them, roll the stone aside. Jesus told them, but Martha, the dead man's sister, she protested. Why is she protesting? Lord, it's too late. He already stinks. You missed your opportunity to do a miracle. Now, it's just done. But Jesus said, so she protested, Lord, he has been dead for 4 days. The smell will be terrible. And Jesus responds, didn't I tell you that you would see God's glory if you believe? Well, maybe your prayer has gone so long that it begins to stink to you. But Jesus says, I'm telling you, you will see God's glory if you believe. I have a plan, he says. So we see in Jesus' response that he's telling them, I know you think I'm too late. I know that you think I ignored you. I know you think that I just didn't care that Lazarus was dying. I know you think I even turned my back on you. But what you got to understand is you will see the glory of God if you believe, no matter what your situation is. And I believe Jesus wants us to understand that today. That in this season that we're going through, Jesus wants us to have hope, to believe, and to know He has a plan. Amen? Because there's nothing in line with God's will that He cannot resurrect from the dead. What you see maybe as too much time has passed and already dead, God says, hey, if it's in line with my will and my plan for your life, I will give it life. I will speak to it and it will rise from the dead. So no matter what's going on in your situation, in your life, in this time, this pandemic, God's will be done. God has a plan. There is nothing about this that caught Him by surprise. God knows exactly what He's doing. God knows exactly what He wants to do in this and through this. And mostly, He wants to do it in us and through us. So I just am hoping for you today. I'm praying that you will be encouraged in this, that God has a plan. Even when we don't see it, even when we think He's late, God has a plan for us. God bless you. I'm going to close in prayer today. Lord, I just thank you that you have a plan, and your plan supersedes all of our ideas, all of our own plans, our own will, things that we want to see accomplished. So, Lord, I just pray a release of your power right now over your people. Lord, that you will speak in and through each of us. And, Lord, that your will be accomplished in us and through us. And we just give you all praise and glory in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. God bless you. Have a great day. I'll see you soon.